Hey crafty friends, are you a beginning card maker? I'm going to show you some quick, easy Halloween cards today. For the absolutely beginner, these are a one-layer card, and we're going to get into it right now. So for our beginning friends, we're going to start off by, I'm going to show you how to make your card bases. So we're going to take our 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I'm going to score this in half at 4 1/4. And that's going to be my standard A2 card base once we get everything set up. Now for my top folding card base, I've got another piece of paper, cardstock. This is a good heavyweight cardstock, and I'm scoring this at 5.5. I did flip this one over because I did notice a little cracking on the other one. So I just wanted to flip that over, give it another score on the other side. Now I've got that cut in half, or folded in half. Now I've cut it in half at 4 1/4. And this one I'm going to cut in half at 5.5. That gives me my four A2 card bases. Two of them are top folding, 2 of them are side folding. So that's how you cut your cards. Now for the stamp set, I'm using the Hocus Pocus stamp from Simon Says Stamp. I have had my eye on this stamp for over a year now since it came out. And I'm going to stamp using some Memento inks. I have everything listed below that I could find. So I'm just lining up my sentiments. And again, these are one layer cards. So I'm going to take a piece of copy paper or cheap cardstock and slide my card base into it. I'm going to stamp that the sentiment a couple times off to the side. So I make sure I have a nice good impression. And then I switch to my, I did stamp all the sentiments with that VersaFine. I think I used VersaFine Clear ink for that, actually. So it was a nice crisp ink. But for my images for my cards, I'm going to stamp those in Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to do some simple coloring for everybody, so I can show you how to do that. So I've stamped a witch right there, the 2 kitty cats from the Hocus Pocus stamp set. And I'm going to stamp the other little witch on there. I am going to make sure that's lined up and stamp it again. I did use the Misty just because I had it. You could totally use blocks for this and be done with it. I'm going to add some colored fireworks that they're shooting out with their wands onto this card base. I'm doing everything onto the card front or card base. So I've stamped that in the green color. I'm going to stamp it in the tangerine color that I have. I believe that's what it's called. And then I think I stamped some in the pink. So we're going to go ahead and stamp all that down. And just moving around the card. I'm going to move to the next card. I went ahead and stamped all my sentiments first, set them to the side, let them dry, and then I can come back and add my little images for each of the card. So I've added the little boy wizard or witch, and I'm going to add this little witch on the broomstick here. And we're going to stamp her twice. And then this is one of the favorite images, is the one with the witch sitting on the pumpkin. I just find this adorable. So I've stamped that down. And we'll stamp that another second time. So we got a nice good impression. And I've stuck my paper back, my card bases back into the paper. And I'm going to do just simple coloring with some tri-blend markers. I just chose some pinks, purples, the darkest gray color, which was ice gray, and an orange and a green, I believe is what I chose, and the skin tones. That way I could just simply color everything and add just little color here and there. I started with the lightest color, then it went to the medium and dark. I think this is the hydrangea blend, and I'm just going to blend that out. And then I'm going to use the alpine green blend or light green blend and color her little skirt. I kept everything as simple as possible. I just added a little shading here and there and blended it out. And it's just super easy coloring. We're going to color her little boots and her little straps, the leftover straps on her stockings in that color as well. Again, just super easy cards. You just add a little where you want your darkest color to go when you're coloring and blend it out with the medium and then the light. That's why I like tri-blend markers for any beginner colorist. They are super easy to use and they make your life, make you feel like a very big professional. So I would definitely, if you're just starting out coloring and you don't have a lot of supplies, I would definitely pick those up. There are 4 sets actually. There's 2 sets of brush markers, 2 sets of the fine, the bullet nib, I think is what they're called, little fine nibs. If you do a lot of small images, I definitely get the bullet nibs, the regular ones that came out first, instead of the brush. They're a lot easier to work. I just ordered a set of Ahoohos that have the little nibs, just because I wanted them to use for some smaller images to color. I found the brush a little hard to use sometimes on the smaller images, so I got those instead. So we changed up our little purple shade here and to this little girl's dress, and we're just going to color that out. And then I'm going to come back in with and make her little hat black. And so since there's no true black in the tri-blends, I chose the ice gray blend and used the darkest color. I think it's like ice gray 10 or something like that. I'm using the same color on my little kitty cats because, you know, they're witches and they have black caps. Or at least that's the stereotype. So we're just going to add that. Now, I stepped that sentiment over there in pigment ink. And I'm going to very carefully, after we add some rosy cheeks to their little cheeks, I did add a little bit of color in there. And I didn't touch the ink at all. That's the only reason I didn't get any bleeding. Because it is a solvent ink and it's not easy to do. So I would say if you're going to do that, use the tuxedo black ink and color it that way. But if you're super careful, you can get and not touch the black. You can get a little ink into those little stars and not worry about it. All right, so I'm going to color the little wands to finish up the coloring on this card. And then I'm going to pull in the other card. I did stick that paper on the inside of the card. And we're going to follow those same little principles of coloring. Starting with our darkest color, we want it to be the darkest, and blending it out with our medium and our highlight. So there is her little hat. But anyway, if you batch these, you can make some super easy Halloween cards. Or even if you chose a Christmas stamp set, you could do the same concept with a Christmas stamp set and have some super simple one-layer cards ready to go to send out. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you after the coloring how I'm going to bump these up a little bit more with intensity to make them really stand out. Or if you like super clean and simple cards, you could just color the images and be done with it. Maybe add a little shading under them and call it a day. You don't have to get very fancy. That's one thing I like my beginner card makers to remember. You don't have to be fancy with your cards. You can achieve a lot with just stamps, ink, and paper. So always remember that. Basics of card making, stamps, ink, and paper. You can never go wrong with those things. Then when you get a little bit more advanced like we are right here, I'm going to just add in a little simple coloring using those tri-blend markers to make it super easy. Okay, we're going to color up her little stem. I did choose this is the burnt orange for the pumpkin. This one, it's a cute orange, but it's not my absolutely favorite orange for pumpkins. I mean, it worked great, so that was all that mattered. I think they could have gone a little bit closer on their combination of colors here. Or they need to come out with another version that is has the other colors. Because there are, in the classic markers, there are more colors in the oranges than just this. But it worked out fine. I mean, I could easily go over it and blend that out a little bit more. But I wasn't too worried about it because it's simple coloring. I didn't care if it wasn't blended all the way. It made for a cute card, and again, I have been eyeing this stamp set for over a year until after it came out I think it came out in last September. Might have been the September before, but I've had my eye on it for a while. I did pick it up during a sale, and I got the stamps and the dies for a very reasonable price. So always watch Simon Says Stamps, sign up for their emails, get their sales. That's where you're going to find the best deals, usually. And again, their deals most of the time are few and far between of the really good ones. So you've kind of got to watch. All right, for this one, we're going to color up the little witch. I'm coloring up her little band on her hat and her little overalls, green. I also colored her little bows, that same green color. So we're going to blend that out. And just have this cute little pink green jumper. And I'm going to color the broom we're underneath. Remember, anywhere an object overlays another object, there's going to be shadow. So that's why we added a little bit more shadow under her sitting on the broom than anywhere else. We're going to color her hat the black. So we're going to blend that out with that same marker that we've been using. And we're going to add a little black to her cape as well. And we're going to add a color underneath her cape because it's a two-tone cape. But I kept the coloring super simple. We did do her little sleeves black or purple. I did it purple. That was an awful dark purple, but I guess it is. So we're going to add that into the cape. And I'm just noticing as I'm looking at this, I probably could have colored more of the black on there and put the purple a little bit under that little. That might have been it might have been the fold of the cape instead of what I was thinking. I was thinking the little line there in the cape was just wasn't where it was folded over, just a crease in the cape. But I think now, looking back at this, I'm thinking that was the fold of the cape, and I should have brought that black down a little bit more. But it's okay. It is what it is. All right, so we're going to color up her little skin. Again, this is why I like the tri-blends. All of the markers are in that one marker, and I don't have to do a lot of stuff. Now for our little boy. So we are going to color his hat and robe first. And we're just going to color those in with our same ice gray combination we've been using. I think I would love to see Spectrum Noir come out with another set of tri-blend markers. Maybe with a warmer gray that had more range in it than what you've already got. That would be super great. But I do like a warm gray, so there's that. I mean, but you can do you, boo-boo. Do whatever you need to do. All right, we're going to color his little tie, his strap, and his little boots green. It made me think of Harry Potter, and that's only because I have something coming up very soon for another release that's going to be Harry Potter related. All right, we're going to color his little hands. It made me think of Slytherin, and I guess I was in a Harry Potter mood anyway to watch Harry Potter. I don't know why. Besides, I got some products at Harry Potter that will be coming out soon. All right, so I made him a little redhead like Ron Weasley. And we're going to take and slide our cards back in there. And then we're going to use our background basic mask and a little ink and add some drama to our cards and tie these all together and finish them off. Give them a nice finished look. For the witch flying on the broom, I added some yellow around the circle mask to make it look like a moon. And then I'm going to add tape her off into a little rectangle. And I'm just going to add some simple ink blending with that same color ink, that orange ink I've been using, just around the top and the sides at the bottom. Just kind of frame her in, kind of draw interest to the card. This one, we're going to use one of the larger rectangles. Excuse me. And I'm just going to do the simple ink blending. The simple ink blending does a lot to draw attention to your cards, especially with this set of masks. Or set of stencils, I'm sorry. Because it will help you create focal points on your card and to draw attention to those special areas. By just adding just a little bit of ink. So, you could do this with Post-it tape or something too if you had it. If you don't have these, use easy ways you could do this. Now, this one, I did use a stencil from the Rabbit Hole Designs. It's the I think it's Make-A-Wish stencil or some shooting. I don't know. I'll have it listed below. But I thought it would be great to have him shooting out his little stars. So that's why I did that. And I'm going to add a little yellow to the edges to tie in that color a little bit more. And then we are going to add some at the top. And to finish off all the cards, there we go. All I needed to do was add a few gel pen highlights, or I can simply leave them just as they are. And that's the cards. And I will see you guys in the next video.